What's going on, everyone? This is ODC, that's me, and I'm back with another action figure review. This is my review of the Star Wars The Black Series First Order Flametrooper action figure. I picked this up the other day at Walmart, so go check your local Walmart. It seems as if maybe Target and Toys R Us and other department stores are a little bit delayed getting these in, except for Walmart. Walmart is pretty much the only place that I can find these, but it looks really good. Wave 4 and Wave 5 look to be really strong. I'm really happy with these. I plan on getting a ton of these Flametrooper figures, to just basically army build. Pretty happy with the way the waves are set up, with 2 of these guys being per case, so you shouldn't have that much of a problem trying to find these guys if they're 2 per case. And yeah, overall, I really like the sculpt on this guy. He's got a very unique sculpt, and it should be because the Flametroopers are pretty uniquely sculpted. I'm going to do a bunch of different comparisons later on in the review here, but for the most part, I really do like. This might be one of my favorite Flametroopers, and he actually does have better range of motion with his articulation throughout his body than the regular First Order Stormtrooper. But setting him aside real quick, let's just take a really quick look at the packaging. You got the nice silhouette of the Flametrooper right here. It says First Order Flametrooper, blah, 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 blah. He is figure number 16 in the series. Flipping around to the back, it says, if it'll focus, specialized stormtroopers of the First Order. Flametroopers carry incendiary weapons that can transform any battlefield into an infernal blaze. So, pretty cool there. Let's get rid of that. And it didn't do what I wanted it to. I wanted it to do. Get out of here. Okay, there we go. And we'll get this back in here. He can hold the gun with 2 hands, unlike the First Order Stormtrooper. He couldn't really do it. As you can see, a much better bend in the elbow. They need to really start giving us more and more of that. Maybe come out with another First Order Stormtrooper that has much better articulation, or range of motion, I should say, in the elbows, because either that or give us double jointed elbows again, because it's really limited with most of these newer figures. The backpack does come in a separate piece, and it is actually disconnected from the gun. It does just plug into the gun like so. But taking a look at the backpack, it is very nicely sculpted right here. All of the backpack pieces are pretty much sculpted in, and even these little rivets up here are painted silver. Right there. And over here, as you can see, there's red dots, and even these lines here are sculpted into the backpack mold, which is really good. And all the tubes connect the way they're supposed to. It just looks really good. And it does just peg right into his back. I do have a minor complaint about the peg in the backpack. It's a little bit short for my liking. He actually has 2 pegs. There's a peg hole, and then there's a peg on his back, and then there's a peg on the backpack as well. And you kind of line them up that direction, but the peg on the backpack is a little bit too short. I would have liked it if they made it a little bit longer for a little bit of a deeper fitment into the back. On his back, he does not have a thermal detonator, which I believe that's pretty much what the most of these the stormtroopers have on their back, but he does not have one. His belt is actually a separate piece, sculpted. A little bit of paint wear right there on the belt. You can't really see it on camera, but it is there. I don't think that was intentional, but I think this guy looks really good. I'm really happy with this figure, and I'm really happy that we got him in this wave 2 per case, so definitely can army build. Shouldn't have a problem there. I really like the sculpt of the armor here, how unique it is from the Snowtrooper and the Stormtrooper. So that looks really cool. I think this is just better built. Maybe his arms are a little bit too short for my liking, just a touch short. He's a little bit squatty in the arms, almost like he's shrugging his shoulders a little bit. But overall, I still like him. I think he's better than the Elite Series figure, which is a little bit clunky. And that's actually the beginning of my comparisons, what I'm going to do here. I'm going to bring in the Elite Series figure. If I can get him over here without knocking 10,000 other figures over. Okay. So here's the Elite Series figure, and he is much larger. He's pretty much been filling the void of my collection so far for the Flametrooper. I gotta say, overall, I like everything about the Black Series a lot better. This guy is just too heavy for these ankles, and these ankles are plastic, which really can cause a serious problem down the line. I think overall the backpack is sculpted better on the Black Series, to be honest with you. This just kind of has painted on dots, where this is painted probably, I don't know, I almost wonder which is more accurate as I have it upside down there. Because there's a lot of dots on this, but not as many dots on this, the Black Series. But the Black Series is fully sculpted, where there's some pieces missing, like all the dots are not sculpted in. This black portion up here is not sculpted where this is sculpted. Or I should say the red dot is sculpted in. All the red dots are sculpted into the mold, which looks really good. But there are your little comparisons. Maybe I like a little bit of the silver right here where it's not on the Black Series, but this figure's pretty heavy, and he's pretty tall. He's pretty kind of out of scale, unless you have him in a specific range. But, oh, speaking of the backpack, he just plugs right into the back right there, like so, and then you have this other little hose, which plugs into the bottom of the flamethrower right here. And then you just kind of pop it on his hand. You can fit him on, you can fit this on either hand, or either hand, I should say. Either, I don't know. But it looks more natural in his right hand, especially with the trigger finger being there. There you go. And that's pretty much where you want it right there. He's kind of got a little trigger right there to initiate the flamethrower. And I just think it looks so much better than the Elite Series. But there's the comparison between the two. There's a lot more sculpt on the Black Series than the Elite. And he's also got a gray lines on here where the Elite Series has black lines. I guess I would say the paint is a little bit more noticeable as in a darker paint. See, this backpack keeps popping off. It's kind of annoying. I might have to glue that. Yeah, that's kind of annoying. But overall, I'd say both flamethrowers are pretty well sculpted. But there's always a little bit more sculpt in the Hasbro sculpt. Interesting. A little bit more sculpt in the I would say the lines here. As you can see, there's these three lines where there's no lines on him. So I'm almost wondering which is more accurate. I guess I'd really have to take a look at some stills from the movie, because he's only really featured in one scene, when they burn the town in the beginning. Oh, spoiler alert! If you haven't seen the movie yet, then go see it. But there's your comparisons, really. I mean, as you can see, he's much larger than the Hasbro version, so you might want to just kind of have him in the background if you're going to do that. So there's your comparisons there. As far as his articulation goes, his head can move up and down like that. And then, oh, we got some jive turkeys up in here. Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm not going to fall for the banana and the tailpipe. No. But his head can look up and it can look down. And he does have the tilt to his head as well, which is really nice. I love that. It's one of my favorite things about head articulation is that tilt. His arms both go up about that far, and that's maxing out right there. I promise you. And then full 360 rotation. He does have a single bend at the elbow, but it's almost a full 90 degree. Where, let me just bring in a Stormtrooper here. Where a regular Stormtrooper, you get that much. As you can see there's a big difference in the bends right there. So it's a little bit better. Would like a little bit more, please. But a full 360 rotation in the wrist, and I believe he has a wrist hinge which goes up and down, so kind of like the Jedi have. And let me just make sure that this wrist does the same. Yes, it also goes up and down. Okay. He does have a diaphragm joint, which is very limited, but can swivel. It can swivel, but when you swivel it, that happens. The backpack pops off. So just letting you know, it doesn't really crunch forward or back at all. It doesn't want to move at all. It doesn't really pivot either that much. It just kind of wants to swivel. That's it. You can't do the splits about that far. His legs, both legs go forward nicely, and they do swivel. And the swivel is actually hidden here through underneath the armor, so that's pretty nice. I like that. And then a double jointed knee, a little bit hindered by the armor, but still gets the full idea of a double jointed knee. He does have an ankle hinge which goes back, and it does go forward nicely, actually better than the Stormtrooper. And he does have an ankle pivot, the ankle pivot we're all used to. He does have 2 peg holes at the bottom of the feet. But overall, I think I really like this figure. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. And I would definitely recommend getting this guy and getting multiples of him if you are a Star Wars army builder or army builder in general, and you just enjoy the Star Wars brand or characters or whatever you want to call it. I'm way off here, sorry. But I think he looks good. He does what he needs to do, and there's people falling over. Who fell over? Oh, all my X-Men just fell over. Great. Alright, but quick size, another size comparison. We'll just bring in everyone here. Bring in this guy, and we'll bring in this guy. I'd say he's pretty much on par with the regular Stormtrooper. Maybe a little bit taller, which is fine with me, because all the first order Stormtroopers are pretty much different heights. And then we'll bring in the Snow Trooper here. Just kind of put him in the background. He's a little bit tall. And who's the shortest? I think the Snow Trooper is actually the shortest here. So that's pretty cool. And to bring in friggin' Beast Mode over here. She is taller than everyone, except for the Elite Series. Well, she might actually be taller than the Elite Series. No, they're about the same height. But there's Captain Phasma. There's everyone. There are all of your comparisons here. Sorry for my big hands getting in the way. I know that's annoying. But definitely a great figure. I'm happy I found him early. Got him out of the way. I do plan on getting the entire wave. So I plan on getting at least 3 or 4 or 5 more of these. So the army must be built. The First Order must be built. But definitely excited for Han Solo. Looking for him soon enough. Like I said, the sculpt on him is really impressive. I really do like the sculpt a lot on this. That's probably the highlight of the Black Series, is that we keep getting unique sculpts, nice sculpts, crisp sculpts, crisp paint. For the most part, there might be a couple, messy areas here and there, but overall, I think the Black Series is just really just knocking out of the park within this last couple months, I should say. The figures have been really good. And not saying that the older figures are bad, because they're not. There's a ton of older figures that I absolutely adore. But just saying, for the most part, that they're really coming into their own this year. So definitely keep your eyes open. I would give this 2 thumbs up. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Thank you for watching as always, and I will see you guys on the flip side.